The Daily Dribble.
Welcome back to the Daily Dribble podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit. Here once again rejoined by Mr. Lee Hancock.
Lee here.
And Mr. Roe Hancock.
How we going?
Lads, guess what?
What, Nick?
This time next week, it will be Christmas Eve. Can you believe it? The excitement.
Oh,
Are you not feeling festive?
I'm not, and I'll tell you why. It's
Oh, dear. Here we go. Here we go.
It's because I haven't, and I don't know about you guys, but in Hobart in particular, I haven't seen much festivity around.
Have you been looking for it? Did you go to the Christmas pageant?
No, but like you're supposed to have it just laying around in town and stuff.
What? More decorations?
Decoration, yeah. I'm not in the spirit.
Well, mate, you got a week to gear up. As we said, the most wonderful time of the year. Hence, we've got a big episode today, guys. We're going to go through our NBA Christmas wish list. We'll touch on that a little more shortly soon, but certainly looking forward to discussing that with you fellas. Before we get into the show, though, guys, a big shout out to both the cover and stadium scene. As I continue to say, week in and week out, doing tremendous things for us in terms of broadcasting our great work that we do here at the Daily Dribble, as well as other content creators across Australia, Canada, the US. Certainly appreciate everything that they're both continuing to do for us. Guys, odds and ends, we'll rip through quickly before we get into our wish list. We'll start with the news that came out the other day with Cade Cunningham set to miss the remainder of the season after opting to have season-ending surgery on his left shin. The number one pick from last season, he'd been averaging 20 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists across his 12 games he played this season. The jump shot wasn't quite falling, but by that, he looked really good. Yet he has elected to sit out the remainder of the season. All indicators are suggesting he'll be back for training camp for next season. But what do you guys think of this? It's I guess it's kind of a short-term pain for hopefully long-term gain for Cade there. This
is probably the best time for him to do it. You know, no one wants to have season-ending surgery.
Season-ending surgery, that's the ticket.
But this is the time for them to do it. They're definitely going in for big old Victor. And it's probably over the next coming months with him out, you'll probably see a couple of trades come from Detroit, just, you know, trying to pick up more picks or something. It wouldn't surprise me, at least, whether they get rid of people like...
Heard Sadiq Bey could potentially be on the move, which certainly surprised me given, you know, his improvement last season. The 50-point game he had, it looked like he might be a staple mark within Motor City, but apparently not.
He's showing glimpses, hasn't he? And also Bogdanovic has been, you know, floated around in trades, particularly to your boys, Nick, the Los Angeles Lakers. But, you know, in terms of this injury, yes, it's far from ideal, but as Lee was saying, look, there's a big prize at the end of the big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak.
It's a 7-foot pot of gold. It's a huge pot.
But in saying that, Cade was also, as we were saying a few weeks ago, looking like he could be getting his first All-Star berth this season. Even though we saw a short sample size, he looked like he was ready to take that next step, like Tyrese Halliburton has done as well. So bad news, but I think it's not the end of the world for the Detroit Pistons.
I think it's quite a mature move. Like, he's opted into this. He kind of knows his body, knows within himself he's not right. You know, things... I think expectations might have been a little bit high on Detroit this year. They certainly haven't lived up to that thus far. And I think given now this injury, it's pretty well pack her up for this season.
I think so.
And I think it's certainly the right move for him to opt in for this surgery and hopefully comes back fitter and healthier than ever.
Don't like to talk about this guy at all, but with Killian Hayes, they're obviously giving him more minutes and kind of saying, look, run the offense through you to an extent, at least on some players right now, especially while Cade's out. Do you reckon this last stint of giving him all these minutes is like okay, this is your last shot, we'll give you this, but if not, you're gone? Because he hasn't been great.
Well, let's be honest. When is he ever again going to get, but particularly for the Detroit Pistons with Cade Cunningham at the reins, when is he going to get the amount of minutes that he is? So I think there's some validity to what Lee's saying. I think they're basically saying, look, we'll give you a short-term responsibility. But you know, if you fail to live up to our expectations, you're gone. And he's probably, like, to be honest with you, he's probably a bit lucky to be hanging on as long as he has, really.
He's certainly been better this season. That increased responsibility, he's certainly been better. I tend to agree with you. If this doesn't work out, I tell you what, your span within the league, it's looking pretty thin if you can't make it within Detroit. I think it's a bit of a year now, ironing out Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, Killian Hayes, all these young players, what's going to actually stick as they move forward. Cade Cunningham, no brainer there. He's the franchise piece, if you will. So now it's just about, it's a shame we don't get to see him with these pieces, like who works best, the chemistry, the flow. But certainly hope for a speedy recovery there for Cade.
Let's hope so.
Another man we hope a speedy recovery for, Steph Curry, suffered a left shoulder injury the other day in the Warriors' 125-119 loss to the Pacers. I tell you what, he was having some game. 38 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, all with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. That was just phenomenal. As per Woj, he's set to miss the next couple of weeks. He'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks. But on that, this could have the potential to possibly just completely derail the Warriors season, couldn't it? Like, we know this is arguably, even, his unanimous MVP season, he's putting up better stats than he was that season.
Yeah, exactly.
It all hinges on him, doesn't it?
It does. And you look at their season already, and to a certain extent, like, they're already half off the rails. Like, they've had such an underwhelming season so far. And then to have Steph, who is, one of the leading MVP candidates, despite the Warriors record, to go down for a few weeks, it's so far from ideal. It's not funny. And who's going to stand up in his absence, though? Are we looking at a combined team effort? Are we looking at Jordan Poole?
I'll just give maybe a little wing, nudge here that I might touch on this shortly, a little bit deeper into the show. But just on Steph, though, without him, I think it's pretty well curtained. So hopefully, as we said, reevaluated 2 weeks' time there, Lee. Hopefully that's all it is.
It's pretty easy to pinpoint where they are right now, but it's so
and where
hard.
is that?
For me, I have an
what's that?
An analogy.
I thought you were going to say, what's that Finding Nemo where he's like, I see an enemy.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, those flashbacks.
But the Golden State Warriors in a car, half off the cliff, and this was just another nudge
half
going
off the
down.
Cliff. The reigning champs. Half off the cliff, you reckon?
Right now, that's what I was going to say. That's where they are right now.
I'd hate to hear where you think all the other teams are then.
It's so
free-falling.
It's so hard for me to pinpoint where I think they'll be at the end of the year. Are they going to turn this around? I don't know.
I believe so.
I can't remember the last time I saw this big of a drop-off from a championship team.
They have been a lot better the last month or so.
Yeah.
Like, given the way they started, they have been, and I'll touch on where they're kind of lacking it more soon, but they have been better as of late. So
it's almost like, just quickly, it's almost a surprise that it doesn't happen more often for these championship teams, because obviously their season is extended in comparison to the rest of the league. So it's no real surprise that some of these championship teams would come out of the gates a little bit
hangover
slowly.
a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seen it time and time again. So I've no doubt they'll be able to turn it around. A guy who, a former Warriors player, Quinn Cook, I just wanted to give him a bit of a shout out. I don't know if you fellas saw this.
Where is he?
He's balling out in the CBA over in China there. Did you see this?
I did.
Right. Mr. Quinn Cook, the other night, dropped 54 points on 18 of 24 from the field, went 12 of 15 from 3, which would have him, in the top behind Clay, Zach LaVine, the top couple in all-time performances for three-point shooting in the NBA. Did this 54 points in just 29 minutes.
Quinn.
I tell you what, it's absolutely crazy, and I know former Lakers player as well. Lakers are looking for shooters. Tell you what, I'd be getting on the blower, finding speed dial straight to China and just, touching base. He played 16 games with them in 2020, 2021. Tell you what, if he's going to shoot the lights out like that, he would be a very, very handy piece to acquire. But, isn't that crazy? 54 points in 29 minutes, 12 threes. Like,
he's done that in less than half. It's crazy. He's definitely on the short list of those type of players who don't have an active NBA contract, but certainly should.
Imagine just if they had I'm not sure how the game actually, played out there, if it was close or a blowout. Imagine if he had got him up to, 35, 38 minutes. Would have been a little Devin Booker 70-piece special.
What if he went to OT? He might have been hitting triple figures.
Incredible.
On Rose's point of how he's not in the league, I've got actually 10 players who are not in the league right now. You just give me a quick yes or no whether you think they should be in the league, and
Very good.
Take into consideration, the liabilities they bring, whether it's defensively or offensively. Don't just think of the name, because
Roger,
I'm guilty for that. Okay, we'll start with Melo.
Yes.
For me, no.
These guys, okay, that's fair. These guys aren't on a team right now. Boogie.
Yes.
Yes.
Eric Bledsoe.
No.
Oh, yeah, I'm probably with you. No for Bled.
Hassan Whiteside.
No.
Yes, for me.
Can't believe he's
Actually,
not in the league right now.
They started Udonis Haslam yesterday, the Heat.
Yeah, that says it all. That says it all.
I was like, is this serious? The guy's in the bloody Cretaceous period still, with roaming around with the T-Rexes. Ancient.
IT.
Yes. Huge. Yes.
I love IT, so yes. Yeah.
Lou Will.
No.
I think Lou Will's expiry date has been reached. Yeah.
Lance Stevenson.
Yes.
Yes, for the entertainment value alone.
Absolutely.
Tristan Thompson.
No.
2 more. Rajon Rondo is not in the league.
Oh, has he
prime time Rajon?
I reckon he's still got a little bit to provide, Rajon.
Even if it's IQ.
I think if every game is on national TV, I would sign him in a heartbeat. But
exactly. Yeah.
I'll say yes. Just more so maybe playing like a backup role, just helping a young point guard.
Yeah,
even Detroit. Helping a young Killian Hayes.
Playing 10 minutes, yeah.
Last one, Lawuwu Cabarro.
Lawuwu. Just for the name. I'll say no.
I haven't missed him. No.
Okay, fair enough.
There you go. Good list. Fun list, that.
I like the prior research from there. That shocked me, but impressed me at the same time.
Go. I like it. There you go. Very good, fellas. Well, we'll move ahead. Kyle Kuzma.
Kuz.
The Kuz control. Sources are saying from the league, Kuz wants out of DC. Now, he's expected to want over $20 million a season. It's $13 million this season in Washington there. 27 years old. He's having a career season, averaging 21 points, nearly 8 rebounds, 3.5 assists. As I said, 27 years old. He's looking to secure that bag, that financial freedom, that generational wealth, as we like to say. Do you think Kuz is befitting of a $20 million, contract a season?
The way the league is going, I would say yes.
Okay.
I honestly don't blame him for wanting out of DC.
Maybe let me pose this to you then. Sorry, bro. Do you see him? Is he a number 1 guy, a 2, 3, or 4? Where do you see him in a pecking order? But because he has said he wants out of DC, he wants to be on a big market or a contending team. So if let's use a contending team.
Yeah.
Where would he fit in the hierarchy?
As a 1 or 2 option, I'd pay him 20 mil plus. I certainly think as a number 1 option, you have almost no choice but to do that.
Is he that though? Do you think?
On his night, I've seen glimpses. Have I seen consistency from him? Maybe not. But as I said, the way that the league's going, you'll be getting guys who once upon a time were worth nowhere near 20 mil, earning 20 mil, and you won't be second guessing.
That an eyelid.
Yeah.
I tend to think he's probably a really good 3rd option. Maybe even 4th. If you had him as your 4th, like almost like a Tobias Harris kind of spec, you'd be laughing. But
if he's your 2nd option, you're not going to the playoffs.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. Do you think he'd be worth 20 million, Lee?
Well, I just looked
former
up
Washington man.
I just looked up who else is on around that 20 mil mark.
Yeah, what did you come up with?
Got players like Tim Hardaway Jr., Aaron Gordon, Jared Allen, Mikal Bridges, Dinwiddie, Jeremy Grant, who's been great. And then do I put him on their level?
That's an interesting one.
I hear some of those players and I think you're not worth 20 million.
So do I.
Who would you say is not worth that there?
I don't think Dinwiddie is. I don't think Tim Hardaway Jr. is worth 20 million. Who was? Yeah, I can't remember the other ones, but they were the ones that stood out to me.
Okay, because there's certain similarities there. If you had to pick for your team, Aaron Gordon or Kyle Kuzma, who would you take?
Asg has improved.
He's been good this season.
He's been good.
He's been really good. And he's a player I've had him in fantasy teams, and he's pissed me off.
I mean, he's a way better 2-way player, isn't he?
Yes,
I think he is.
He is a better 2-way player.
But Kuz has the flash.
Kuz is more noticeable. He's more likely to put up 23 to 25.
Got the shittest dress sense though. I'm someone, and we've spoken about it. I like suits. I like that. Kuz is the complete opposite.
I'm interested to hear Lee's thoughts on Kuz's fashion sense, actually.
Oh, his fashion sense. Yeah, it's a bit too out there for me. He has some nice.
What about the oversized pink sweater that he was rocking?
I like that.
Okay.
What?
We spoke about this. That was a good outfit.
That's not it.
That was a good tunnel fit.
Oh dear.
Lee's undone all his good work from the episode.
Okay, Kuz or Asg? I'm choosing. That is really hard. It solely depends on what you need.
Yeah.
I'd probably take the safe route and go Asg.
I heard the Lakers might have potentially been interested in reacquiring Kuz.
Well,
did you see his tweet? I did the cool breeze.
And he said that when he landed in was it California,
in
Los
California,
Angeles?
Yep.
There's that nice cool breeze that he's used to, and I think it was Donovan Mitchell said
and Trae Young
tampering, and Trae Young said, "Yeah,
pretty much.
Could
So
be.
there you go. Kuz wants a lot of money. Is he deserving or not? Be sure to let us know, guys. Hit us up on our socials: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Let us know. Is Kuz worth the bag? I tell you what, we're split here. I think it's an interesting question, but we'll move ahead. The last little point here from odds and ends, guys. During the week, the NBA released their new names and trophies for all the major awards. Now, I tell you what, this would have been handy a week ago when we were doing our awards and things of the kind, wouldn't it? But
yes, yep.
As is always the case, it's
just missed the train there.
Absolutely. Okay. So the new awards as such, the MVP award will now be the Michael Jordan Trophy. The Defensive Player of the Year will be the Hakeem Olajuwon Trophy. Rookie of the Year will be the Wilt Chamberlain Trophy. Sixth Man of the Year will be the John Havlicek Trophy. Most Improved of the Year is the George Mikan Trophy. And the new Clutch Player of the Year is the Jerry West Trophy.
Like Jerry West? Come on.
So, how do we feel about that, fellas?
Any respect on Jack West.
Did you guys see the Michael Jordan Trophy, the NBA MVP?
Yeah. I love the look of it.
I tell you what, Jokic presented with it the other day. I like it. Yeah. I think it's got a bit about it.
Aesthetically, it looks incredible. Yeah, I'd love to be presented. That'd be centerpiece on my mantelpiece.
It kind of didn't fit when they were giving it to Jokic, just because it was such a refined, kind of classy trophy. And as much as we love Jokic, he's kind of a doughy, kind of just.
Come on,
you know, you know what I mean.
Like I know what you mean.
You know where I'm getting at there, but we love the Joker. But what do you think? Down. He certainly has. He's on that keto diet. But in regards to that, and just what do you think the new Clutch Player of the Year award? You like that?
Well, Lee didn't like the naming of it, did he?
No, I didn't.
You're not a fan, Jerry West?
I didn't like the naming of a lot of them. You know,
really?
I don't know why they didn't put current NBA players, or at least have their input in on it.
I think they're definitely paying homage to a lot of there's been so many historical legends of the game. I think
100%.
They've definitely taken that on board. Now,
the Jordan one you can't.
The Jordan one you can't really complain.
I can.
What, Bill Russell you would have called it? He's already
or LeBron.
Oh, you can't give it to a guy still going.
I wonder, like, why isn't the Clutch Award called the Damian Lillard Award?
Oh dear,
come on.
Well, I saw something. I was listening to an article, and they were saying maybe they need to have it every 25 to 50 years. They change the name, so
they should.
When the next edition comes out, they have the LeBron Trophy, the Luka Trophy, the Giannis Trophy, etc., etc. But I quite like it.
I'm quite disappointed there wasn't a biggest amount of hustle award, because we know who would be getting that.
Matty Dellavedova.
Matty Dellavedova would be an absolute shoo-in. Could you imagine the trophy? Him just diving for a loose ball.
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. It would be. We might have to do that in a couple of weeks' time. We might have to go through and say who we think these awards in 10, 15, 20 years' time will be named after.
I think so as well.
Interesting stuff. Who would at the moment your Clutch Player of the Year award go to?
Who's been very clutch this year?
Even though he's missed some games, Dame. It's coming back off what you said there, Lee. Dame has had some
AJ Griffin.
He has had 2 buzzer beaters.
Yeah, Shay's been clutch. Shay's been very clutch.
Imagine giving it to a rook though. AJ Griffin picking up the Clutch Player of the Year award. That'd be.
I'd love to see it. Love to see it.
I love it, fellas. Well, we'll certainly be sure to keep up to date with all that and let you know who we think will take out these awards very, very soon. Guys, let's move ahead.
Daily Dribble.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. All I Want for Christmas. NBA wish list. Yeah, where's Mariah Carey when you need her? We should have had a keyed up to the old roadcasting.
I reckon she would have taken us for everything we're worth from copyright infringements, but that's okay.
Absolutely. She's not short of a quid though, is she?
She's not.
But that's how the rich get rich and stay rich. They just keep taking from the poor.
What a world.
Nevertheless, we'll move ahead, guys. As I said, we're going to go through some of our NBA Christmas wish lists from whether it's a player perspective, a team perspective, and just kind of share what we think they're actually after this Christmas.
From my perspective, it's not what I wish they had. It's what the team or the player wish they had.
Absolutely.
So it's their wish list.
Yeah, 100%.
Take it any which way you'd like.
Any which way you want. I reckon a lot of these bastards probably deserve coal. But the
any names in particular?
Got a better heart than me. So, well.
Miles Bridges.
Yeah, Montrezl Harrell. No, he was cleared.
He was cleared. Miles, though.
Miles, not so much. Naughty boy. Yeah, I would hate to see what he's going to have in his sack.
Yes.
Guys, we'll get into it though. I'll start first cab off the rank.
Please do.
With the Warriors.
What are they getting?
Now,
what's on their wish list?
For their bench not to be a complete liability and to win a game on the road. They're pulling double duty. They've got 2 wishes. So.
You can only get 1 wish, Warriors. You're selfish. Won all these championships. What's all this about?
Exactly right. So after losing to Indiana, which we touched on before the other day, they are now 2-13 on the road.
Not good enough.
As I said, for as much as they've improved, they've been better, certainly at home, doing wonderful things there in Oracle. On the road, it's just, they literally cannot buy a win. I feel as had Steph maybe played the remainder of the game, they certainly got back into that one against the Pacers the other day, but they're struggling on that front. As I said, in fairness, they've been better as of late. Kuminga in particular, playing a lot better minutes. But that being said, their bench is negative, all negative players. Now, I had these notes from earlier in the week, not taking into account the Pacers game and things like that. But I just want to make note of some of these and their plus minuses, all in the minuses here. Anthony Lamb, minus 1.7. Dante DiVincenzo, minus 1.4. Jermichael Green, minus 2.1. James Wiseman, 6.3. Jonathan Kuminga, minus 3.3. Jordan Poole, minus 1.9. Moses Moody, minus 2. Ty Jerome, minus 6. You get the idea, so on and so forth. Now, for as good as the starters have been, in particular Curry, they are literally, it is a complete liability. And I tend to think if they make the playoffs, they'll be in better shape. The rotations will tighten. These star players will get more and more minutes. But for me at the moment, I think in this group, you're probably looking at Poole, Kuminga, and maybe DiVincenzo, who are probably most likely to get those valuable minutes behind the starters in the playoffs. So for me, that's where we're at. The Warriors to get a road win and for their bench to not completely suck, especially whilst Steph is out as well. They're going to have to step up big time.
That's going to have to improve massively, isn't it? That's so telling, isn't it? The majority of your second unit being in the negatives. It pretty much shows you where their season is at so far.
It's a shame. It's a shame. If they were purely playing the starters, they'd probably be the number 1 seed.
Yeah,
with those plus minuses and things of the kind. But
is it because whether done intentionally or subconsciously, these guys around Steph have just become complacent with his output and how much he contributes that they've taken a step back and couldn't get back on their horse?
It's certainly interesting, the Jordan Poole conundrum, because what was he, like off the bench, he averages, was it 17 or 18, I think?
Right, last year
in there, yeah.
But when he's starting, he averages 25.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know. I feel like it might almost be a little bit of complacency there, Lee, just because the starters do such a good job. The bench come on, they're up by 10, and then it just goes to the wayside very, very quickly.
But the way that I think of it is, like, surely if you're a Warriors player, apart from Steph, obviously, surely you're super aware of just how big a hole he's going to leave and just how much you're going to be expected to stand up in his absence.
Yeah.
I think if they're thinking we're still going to get this done the same way as we would when Steph's out there, low ball IQ.
I'll tell you the guy that I'm hoping they give not the reins to, but the large responsibility to, Andrew Wiggins, because on his night, he can blow up. And we saw it in the playoffs last year, I think it was. Steph was playing too, but he was playing better in some games and he was taking the reins. I really hope they give him the responsibility.
Still one of the most surprising things, it still gets me now, that Andrew Wiggins was an all-star starter last season.
Yeah,
is that
I
not
forgot about
wild?
that. That's
Is that
insane.
Not crazy?
It was when it happened, but I don't think it is, or it is now, but like I think it's recency bias from how well he played in the playoffs. But I don't mind Wiggs.
Crazy stuff. But
You Wigan?
You Wigan.
Every time I think of Wigan. Little deep cut. If you know, you know.
If you're Australian and you've watched Maths, Married at First Sight, I just feels tragic even speaking about it, but it's incredible. Just look it up. Look up on YouTube, You Wigan, bro. Just look it up. Just watch the clip, and you understand why we're cringing at the thought of that. But for the Warriors, do you think, just in I guess coming back to our initial point, in Steph's absence, are they going to be able to keep afloat? As we said, they're kind of in that playing position at the moment.
So how long is he out for? Sorry, is it 2 weeks?
2 weeks he'll be reevaluated.
Okay.
Hopefully not much longer.
I would have to have a look at their fixture, but
Yeah,
I
of
think they do have enough talent, despite that plus minus.
Yes.
I think that they'll have enough to keep afloat at least. I don't see them completely falling off the rails. And once Steph comes back, I see them getting well and truly back on track. But it's still a worrying next few weeks for the Warriors.
Indeed. Let's go ahead, Lee. What have you got for us, mate?
So on the Chicago Bulls wish list to the big old fat man.
How long's your arm? How long's your list?
They're wishing for a nuke button. Because they should blow it up. They're bottom third in offensive rating, and they're about middle of the pack defensive rating. They've got a sub 500 record right now at 11-16. Oh. Yeah, I think now's the time. They were rolling before Lonzo Ball got injured.
Yeah, that's the big piece, isn't it?
It's the difference almost, I think.
He got injured
at this point,
and it's been downhill since then. When they made all these trades, it seemed like they were trying to gain some relevancy again as the Chicago Bulls, the headlines, and it worked because people were watching their games. But I just think they overestimated how high their ceiling would actually be with all these new acquisitions.
Yeah, okay.
And it hasn't reached that ceiling.
So do you think? So just on that with the nuke button, you think completely, strip it back to the bare bones, do you blow the whole thing up, or do you think is it move one or two pieces, try and recalibrate, and just retool around whether it's DeMar, whether it's Levine, or just blow the whole, to smithereens?
I think Vooch is a must go.
Absolutely,
and absolutely, and then it's a give or take whether you keep DeRozan or Levine or get rid of both of them. I'd probably keep Levine. But yeah, the Chicago Bulls are a good mining spot for all these other teams to kind of pick out the players they need.
Pat Williams, shout out to Apex, Kobe White, players like that. Yeah. Caruso, we spoke about. Mr. Steve Kerr, potentially trying to get into the Bay Area.
Caruso got absolutely dropped the other day. Did you guys see that?
Nope.
That was against the Knicks, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got crossed over, and boy, he just lost both of his legs.
Second rate.
I wonder how the Chicago natives would react to blowing the whole thing up at a city which has been so used to big success. I know not since the Michael Jordan era has the ultimate success occurred, but I just wonder how they would react to completely bare bone in it. Like OKC style, just accumulate picks and start from scratch, or are we thinking, maybe just build around Zach LaVine?
And is it hard though, because they did, like, before Lonzo went down, like last season, they were rolling the first half.
They were,
they were really looking like a competent, not a genuine title threat in the East.
Well, they were to me.
Yeah, well, they
probably were for a little while, don't they?
So does that, I know DeMar's now a year older, Vooch has looked garbage, but does that give you a little bit of faith to push on with this iteration of the team?
Well, that's that ideal world made out of candy. Lonzo Ball comes back healthy, doesn't get injured again. Pat Williams becomes that reliable role player. Vooch, Levine, and DeRozan all perform consistently. But you look outside and the grass isn't made of candy. The pavement isn't.
I was just actually, as you were saying that, I was envisioning myself in a house of candy. Like, imagine the dental bills you'd clock up. Good in your industry, Lee. Tell you what, you'd get a nice couple of little bonuses that'd be running like clockwork with people in and out the door.
I think it'd be a very opportunistic kind of outlook.
Yes. Okay. So
optimistic. Sorry.
I agree. I think Vooch has got to go. Yep. Vooch has been a liability this season. Levine has taken a sharp downturn this season as well. DeMar's still doing his thing, trying to do what he can. But they just look. I agree. They are well and truly off the pace. I think it's probably a case of maybe not nuking it completely. But just what could they maybe do in a bit of a deal? Let's say hypothetically with the Pacers, a Miles Turner coming back, you get rid of a Vooch, and maybe you get another shooter, maybe get a Buddy Hield as well. When you lose you got to give up maybe a Kobe White or something Caruso, like that. Like how would that work? Would that get him? Back in the mix, then you've got pretty well 5 shooters. Because DeMar can just operate in the mid-range.
I guess the risk is if they don't make a move shortly, they're at risk of becoming one of these teams who as it's sort of like the Sacramento Kings. They don't necessarily fully bottom out, but they're always around the middle.
What are they? What does that make?
We're not even going to say it.
Say it. Yeah, I know you want to.
Mediocre.
Makes them mediocre, absolutely.
You know, like you've probably got two options. You make moves to positively impact your franchise, or you just completely commit to the rebuild. And I know us three, I think I speak for all three of us, we're huge fans of when you commit to the rebuild, you commit to 110%. The rebuild.
Yep.
You don't muck around.
Thing with that's why I want them ideally, from my perspective, to blow it out completely, because you look, if they get rid of DeMar and Vooch and they keep Levine and they're trying to bottom out and tank for Victor, try with Levine, compete for that bottom spot against Detroit, Orlando, OKC, I guess. I think they're just a level above them, even without those two to bottom out.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it'd be a hard sell to completely bottom out from here and get down to the pure shithousery of some of those other teams. But I certainly see the merit behind it.
Me too.
They're in a funny spot, aren't they, the Bulls?
They're in a worrying spot.
In a very worrying spot, just as well, given where expectations probably were this season. They're certainly not on course at the moment. So very interested, especially with the trade period opening up. Was it the 15th? A couple of days ago now. So all the players that had since signed on. Be interesting to see over the next couple of weeks in particular if we see a few moves being made. We'll be sure to keep you up to date with all of them. As long as you're staying up to our socials, you'll get all the latest news as it breaks.
Good stuff.
How's that? Good little plug there. It's just flowing off the tongue today. Ro, what have you got for us?
Do you know what Luka Doncic needs for Christmas?
A running mate.
A punching bag.
Yes.
He is, Lee touched on it last week, I believe it was. He is one of, if not the most moodiest, angriest players in the whole league. And look, I do not blame him, because we've touched on it. He does need those running mates. He's doing a lot of it on his own at the moment, but he's just becoming more and more fed up with the fact that he's doing a lot of this on his own.
It's doing it all on his own.
He's doing essentially all of it on his own. And I know he's still good for a 30-point triple-double most nights, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's not resulting in wins every single night. And we saw this on full display the other night, as you guys, I'm sure, would have seen.
Yes.
Luka receiving a
this was out. This was a ridiculous call.
This was such an insane call.
Rubbish.
Luka just absolutely firing into his teammate Dwight Powell, and the refs must have thought that it was towards them. Called him for a tech for yelling at his own teammates. It was a ridiculous call, but in saying that, it still clearly showed like how fed up he was getting and how demonstrative he was towards his teammates.
That honestly made me angry, that goal. The game,
NBA fans hated that.
The refs are just making it about them. Far too often.
On a nightly basis. Every single night you see a call which is clearly absurd. And it's almost as if they just want that little bit more bit of camera time.
Yeah. And I've stopped. Umpires and referees can ruin a game. I've stopped watching a sport completely because of the umpires.
What sport?
AFL.
You're giving up on it.
But this was years ago when Hawthorn was still on top of it. But it shows
a decade ago.
It shows how much they impact watching. That pissed me off.
Lucas had 6 techs this season, and I reckon that that one the other day won't be his last. He had 18 last season. He's built a real reputation over the last few years.
Did he only finish behind Draymond last season? Is that right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, 18 last season. Yes, yeah. So
6, what are we? We're about a third of the way through. So he's on track.
He's hitting double digits, absolutely.
Yeah, brilliant.
But Luka with a punching bag, he just needs an outlet outside of that court to take all of his frustration out, because at the moment, it's been taken out on his teammates. It's been taken out on referees. And it's probably not great, to be honest, for the overall team chemistry for the Mavs. I know he's the star player, and sometimes you just have to get used to playing with these kind of guys. But I can't say being ripped into on a nightly basis would. I certainly wouldn't enjoy it.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I've got a question. Does this make you like Luka less or more, or just the same?
It's an interesting one, because I certainly understand where he's coming from, because he does I can see the frustration building up just due to the fact that, okay, I'm doing this all on my own. Where's the bloody help?
Hard on his sleeve kind of situation.
Hard on his sleeve. And some people are just like that. In saying that, if I guess I'm thinking about my own personal perspective, if I was playing with someone like that, I'd get fed up with it quite quickly.
Do you fire back, Ro?
It depends what they did, but if they were directly, sometimes you get constructive criticism and you have to take it on board. Sometimes you get
out and out, just sledge
a stray bullet, you're gone.
Yeah, you fire back.
Oh, I don't know if I would to Luca because he would determine my future at that.
I was about to say he could just go and see Cube in there. I've had it. This guy answered back. He's gone.
Yeah,
like it could be a very.
You'd have to bite your tongue, I think, which is what Dwight Powell, I'm sure.
Yes. I agree. I think for me, it doesn't really impact his likability. For me, like I just see that passion with him that it does mean so much. Granted, I put myself in his shoes. If he's carrying the team, doing all he possibly can, his shoulders carrying the weight of the world on them, I would certainly be fed up as well.
Yeah, you can understand it.
So I certainly see both points of view, but it wouldn't be a great locker room to be in at the moment in Dallas.
No.
Get some wins on the board and look out.
He's an angry boy.
Beautiful, lads. Let's move ahead to round 2. Lads, round 2. Here we go. We might go to you, Lee.
You go again. Just full circle.
Just full circle it. I'm trying to keep you on your toes, but you are on your toes to say the least. Let's go ahead then with the LA Clippers. So they want for Christmas, desperately praying to the holy angels above, hoping these little elves can pull off some miracles, that they have a healthy Kawhi who can knock down a 3-ball. Now, as seen with both Kawhi, PG, they're still a quality side. The way they, I guess, almost dismantled the Celtics the other day was really just a great highlight of that. They're currently residing in the upper half of the West. The key for them, though, as I said, being successful hinges on health. Kawhi, he looks like he's starting to round into form a little more so. He's getting games on the board the last week or two. In their win over the Celtics the other day, he dropped 25 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, went 10 of 12 from the field, which looked like Kawhi of old. That was the kind of performance that for me almost shifted my perspective, because he'd kind of been almost looking like a role player. That was star Kawhi, and that's when the Clippers looked their best. As I said, though, outside of health, if that can all remain true, he just needs to get that 3-ball to drop. He's notoriously been a high 30% shooter, even dipping into the 40 for some seasons. This season, he's sitting a tick under 22%. For a player of his caliber, especially with the injury concerns, probably not wanting to drive or get into the lane as much, he needs to utilize that 3-ball and get it to drop. So I'm sure both teammates and fans alike, that would, be their ultimate wish, just to have both these players healthy. We've seen the last couple of seasons, as Stevie Ballmer, they announced the signings of PJ and Kawhi. Yeah. Excitement and jubilation was just etched
through the roof
across the city. Steve Ballmer leading pretty much the championship parade at that point, and it just hasn't eventuated yet through unfortunate circumstances. But if they are healthy, they still look like a team to be feared. As we've spoken about, their depth, some of the other quality they've got. But it is pivotal. PG and in particular Kawhi are healthy. So
I think it's fair to say, actually, I don't know about you because you're a Lakers fan, Nick, but I think NBA fans in general would love to see Kawhi Leonard and Paul George back to full strength. You look a bit
don't ask
not
my
convinced
opinion
about that. I think as an NBA fan,
as an NBA fan, yes,
I love to see those guys at full flight, and it's hopefully good to see at least one LA team in the playoffs this year, Nick. But
stack it on thick. It's just backhands left, right, and center.
But let's be honest, they only have the chance to truly compete if they have both of those.
I was about to say one's not enough, is it?
No, it's not.
Well, they need to be on the court together to create some chemistry within the team as well before the playoffs, especially. But I really thought that going into the season, Kawhi had all of last year off. I thought it was going to be similar to the way that Zion came back, not in the
goddamn freight train.
Not talking about his play style, their play styles being similar, but him just being available and playing games. He's not. I'm sick of it. I just want them both on the court.
Yeah, I agree, and everything does hinge on that health. With the way the league is, with how deep it is, the East and the West in particular, there, like they've got to be at 100% full strength to have a genuine shot. And as I said, getting that 3-ball to drop, I think, will be key. The team as a whole isn't shooting the ball great, but they need their star player to knock down a few and just get the runs on the board. And as I said, hopefully alleviate a bit of that pressure of having to go inside every play. So that would be the wish for the Clippers.
The wish for the Miami Heat this Christmas.
Don't say you're going to say nuke it again.
Not nuke it, but I think they do need a backup center desperately. You were saying earlier in the pod, Nick, I didn't even hear about it. Udonis Haslem started
yesterday.
That speaks volumes. Come playoffs, Dwayne Dedmon isn't going to be a reliable backup center. He's fine for now. I mean, he's still old and he's frequently on the injury list, but he's serviceable for now. By playoff time, he's not going to be. They're 27th overall in rebounds per game. They've been without Yurtseven all this season. He hasn't played a game. Yeah,
makes you worry though, doesn't it? I guess, Lee, just when you think about who they're going to be coming up against, should they make the playoffs for a start. In the East, you look at the Celtics, Rob Williams coming back with Al Horford.
Yeah.
You look at the Bucks, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, and Giannis. It's pretty much a three-pronged attack there in the big department. You're going up against Embiid, Bam, with, you're gonna have, Paul Reed or someone else. Like there is some quality centers within the East, and quality secondary centers for that matter as well. So like they've got to have someone who can bang with those boys.
I heard Nerlens Noel was on the trade talks. Not that he's amazing, but he'd be all right as a backup center. He's in Detroit right now, and just with their plethora of young, big man, he's not getting minutes at all. So you'd think the asking price wouldn't be too big.
Gee, I even think of bloody Boogie Cousins, like
Boogie or Hassan Whiteside.
Get Hassan back to Miami.
I think it's criminal that Boogie's not in the league.
That's unbelievable.
As we made this point, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Rowan, we were discussing DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah,
he's in the league, getting minutes there for the Nuggets.
Exactly.
And goddamn, I tell you what, his plus minus would be through the floor, like pretty much a body anchoring it, put a rock around it, wrap it around, and just drop it in the ocean, sink into the bottom. That's what their plus minus
into the Earth's core.
But the fact that he's not in the league and some of these other players are, it just baffles me.
Yeah.
Willie Cauley-Stein, he's not in the league either. Get Willie.
No.
Why not?
No, not big Will.
What about Will?
Yeah, I don't know.
He scares me.
I think you could do a little bit better than that. I hope you could. I certainly hope you could.
Tell that to his face.
I reckon I've got the legs on him, so I'd say it, and as I was just ending the sentence, I'd turn and
I'd say it while running away.
Yeah. Get the megaphone so you can yell it from halfway down the street. But
how about Big Jock Lando?
Big Jock.
He's
a bit of Aussie flavour. Yeah, he's in the league,
Yeah.
but I reckon get him to Miami, give him even more responsibility.
Yep. At the minute, he's competing, with Aiton's the starter there, Biombo, Saric even can play like a small ball.
Got a lot of bigs.
I've got to say, he's getting way more responsibility than I anticipated he would.
And
never in doubt. Never in doubt.
Except that buzzer beater layup that he missed.
The Aussies as a whole are doing phenomenal things at the minute. I know we've transitioned, but Dyson Daniels starting the games, really showing out. Jock Landale there.
Giddy.
Jack White even getting some minutes there in Denver. Giddy, as you said. Delhi starting the other day for the Kings.
And rightly so.
Simmons, we won't touch on him, but Aussies are doing well abroad, so you love to see it.
We're coming up.
A bit of Aussie pride. Land down under. Ro, what have you got, mate? Round 2.
Now, this wish might be a bit of a delayed wish, but it's a wish nonetheless. The Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, here we go.
They're wishing for they'll walk out into the lounge room and they're wishing to see a 7'3" box.
Yeah.
And in that box, they're wishing for none other than Victor Wembanyama.
Yes.
Currently with the worst record in the entire NBA, the Charlotte Hornets.
Have we?
I'm going to tie this in because I had a third one and it was just end the season. That would be their wish.
End the season.
For the Hornets.
Nuke the season, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
Currently sitting 7 wins, 21 losses on a 6-game losing streak. They're making their wish list very well known for next season, I think. I know injuries have had have had a contributing factor to this season for them. But let's be honest, they're in this hole now. There's no use trying to climb out of the hole, particularly given, what, as we said before, what the gold is at the end of the rainbow and Victor Wembanyama.
Yes.
And the thing with the Hornets is, again, they're one of these teams. I look at their overall roster.
Don't you listen, buddy. Don't you listen
Take
to
this
him.
on board. Take this on board.
Take it on.
I think they're one of these rosters who, the only guy who I think has legitimate star potential in that team is LaMelo Ball.
Yep.
The rest of those guys on that team, I don't see them elevating themselves to any great heights in comparison to where they are at the moment.
Yep.
So I think they almost need, it's probably not great for LaMelo's development, but they almost do need to completely bottom out, because the alternative will be that they will be sitting around somewhere in that bottom half of the
They don't even
standings.
look like a playing team.
They don't look like a playing team.
Garbage.
They look like a 12th to 15th team.
Yeah.
And at the moment, they are 15th. So Wembanyama.
They're 15th.
They're 15th. They've got the worst record in the entire league.
You can just laugh.
But the other thing is, the other reason they want Victor Wembanyama, though, is because how long have we spoken about the need for a legitimate good big man on that team?
Yep.
And
not serviceable, not Mason Plumlee serviceable, good center.
And we think of, yes, he's obviously going to come out of the gates as one of these guys who's must watch on every night. So you've got the publicity associated with that, but he's also going to, I don't think he would take very long to get going. Let's put it.
I don't think so. And just on this Hornets team, I just find them a hard watch. You think of some of the other poor teams within the league. Let's say Detroit. Okay, I find it fun watching Bogey go off and Killian Hayes doing bits and whatever else. Ivy. You go to the Magic. Wow, Bol Bencaro just there's a lot to like. Rockets, Green and Porter, but with the Hornets, I just LaMelo returned, was it yesterday? But there's just nothing to get excited about. Kelly Oubre's had a couple of fine performances. Rozier's done a little bit here and there. Dennis Smith Jr., before he got injured, was probably the highlight.
True.
But there's just nothing to get excited about for. And it, as you said, Ro, I don't know what the path forward for them is with this roster. I think you've just got to gut it like a fish.
You do. I think you absolutely do.
Ro, our resident Hornets fan, should I say, what are you making of them at the moment? Where do you see it?
I'm at a point with the Hornets where
get the contract out.
Oh, no.
I'm not watching Hornets games because it's purely just a waste of my time. But I will frequently tune into a Rockets game because I like watching the Rockets. I don't want to watch PJ Washington. Okay? I don't.
You're not a fan of Mace?
I'm not. I'm not a fan of Mason. No,
feels like you had Mace sprayed in your eyes watching him.
I'd love for this year, and I don't know why they haven't done this yet, but if you can offload Hayward because he's chronically injured.
He had the worst. What was it? The worst contract, I think, or the worst overpay, or the second worst in NBA history, I think, or it might have been the worst. It's something that came out the other day in terms of his market value and what he's getting paid, and I think it was the biggest overpay in NBA history.
He's basically getting paid to sit on the pine at the moment with a shit haircut. So. I hate to say it, just putting it out there, but that's what he's getting paid for at the minute.
I'd be happy to gut our core that we've got.
What stays then? If you had the choice and you could say no, yes, choose, pick and keep, whatever you want. Who stays?
I'd love to, in the meantime, keep our young players and develop them. Book Knight, Mark Williams. Who else do we have?
Do you keep Tez?
I would love to keep Terry, but he's probably another asset that we've just got to offload. But it's hard to pick a direction for us.
So you're keeping the Bookworm. He stays.
Who?
Bookworm, Book Knight.
Oh, Book Knight, yeah.
Yeah. He gets a gig.
Oh, well, we haven't even seen what he can do.
Yeah, it's pretty early in his career, isn't it? Yeah.
And Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, he stays.
Yeah, I'd love to see him on the court. Kai Jones.
Kai Jones, just for the entertainment value alone.
I was about to say, it's so, you walk down the street, it'd be fun to do this as an experiment and say, do you know who James Bouknight is? Do you know who Kai Jones is? And I bet no one would have a clue.
No.
No. It's a sad state of affairs in Charlotte, and especially given, I think, where the expectations were. It felt like their trajectory was building. And it's just kind of been a gradual climb. And then what you say before, Lee, the analogy off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yep. It's headfirst dive straight off, I think.
Yes.
From Victor Wembanyama's point, I would be scared for him going to the Hornets. I'd love him personally, but I've seen how not great our player development is, especially straight out of the draft.
True.
They did not even give Book Knight a chance when they clearly could have. LaMelo got his chance, but that's because he went number 3.
Yeah.
Kai Jones was in the G League his whole first season. I haven't seen Mark Williams on the court. That may be because I haven't watched many Hornets games.
No, I don't think he's seen much game time.
No.
But like, it's not the way to develop your young players.
Guys, there you have it. There's 2 rounds of NBA wish lists. As we said, we know the big man can work miracles, but some of these might be a bridge too far. Who knows?
Speaking of making a wish, 11-11 on the dot.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, don't you love it when a plan comes together? Guys, as we said, let us know what you think of these wishes. Are there any more? This time, well, next week, as I said, it'll be Christmas Eve. We're going to be back. We're going to be running next week an NBA or mailbag. It's always a bit of a staple, Mark, the last show before Christmas. No, I think there's better odds than not that I'll probably get pissed. So, I'm certainly looking forward to tackling all your questions, guys.
You'll get honest responses.
You get honest responses, no doubt about it, guys. As we said, we love you sending in questions. So, basketball related, non-basketball related.
Ideally, non-basketball related.
Yeah,
for mine,
yeah,
I would say they're the most
send them
entertaining.
Yeah, absolutely. So, any questions you have, guys, we would love to hear them. We'd love to tackle them. You'll get a bit of a shout out next week's show.
Do you reckon we'll get any elephants over the Tasman Bridge?
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
what would you do with an elephant if you had one?
Oh, that was a great question.
That was a great question.
So give us more questions like that, guys. Send them into our, hit us up, DM, any of our socials. Get in contact with us individually. We'd love to hear from you guys. So we'll put some things up on our socials during the week. Be sure to be following Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. And let's have at it. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, isn't it, fellas?
Mailbags are always the best episodes for mine.
They can go any which direction.
Yes.
We love going off on a tangent at the best of times, but these are made for
I reckon we're about 3 months overdue for one too.
3 months. I reckon we're about 12 months overdue.
Surely we've done
one.
Surely we've done one in between last Christmas, or no?
Might have done one.
Maybe.
It's been a long time between drinks, though. Metaphorically and literally. So we better put a ceasefire to that next week. Just quickly as well, before we wrap up though, guys. Hey, exciting night coming up for the boys.
What are we doing?
We are heading to the Jack Jumpers game. So the Jack Jumpers play the Cairns Taipans in the corporate box. Lee, our resident NBL fan here. Mate, are you pumped or what?
I'm pumped. Free drinks.
No, what about the game?
Is a corporal box? Is that just,
a corporal box?
Is that what it is?
Corporate
box. So what is it? Explain it to me.
So it's really good seats right near the court. You got a box, a couple of snacks and what in it. Yeah.
You're right behind
free
the bench.
drinks, right? Yeah. It's the place to be, mate. If you want to watch a game, just got a quick question for you, just to put you on the spot here. As you are our big fan, I want you to name 5 Jack Jumpers players. Can you give me 3?
Majet.
Yes.
Yep.
Clint Steinel.
Yep.
Yes.
Jack McVeigh.
Yeah, mate. Light work. What are you worried about? It's going to be a hoot. Guys, if you're going, we're about to put this up. If you hear this before the game, if you see us in the crowd or whatnot, come up. We'd love to say good day, talk ball with you guys. It's going to be a hoot, isn't it?
Yes, as long as I'm in a 5-meter vicinity of Scotty, I'm happy.
You're not going to be.
Yeah.
You can hope. Guys, have a tremendous week. Enjoy what I'm sure is the last couple of days of work for a lot of you before holidays. Get into the festive spirit as Lee will be. Get yourself around Hobart, mate. Get involved. And guys, we can't wait to talk to you next week. Get those questions in.